Wasn't any drama in their late game. It was a convincing win, and they have the opportunity to sit back, scout both of these teams right now, and prepare for tomorrow's championship game.
So look at Doug McDaniel. I mentioned McDaniel headed to Michigan. It's been a fun matchup to watch. The other player in the frame there, Bruce Thornton, headed to Ohio State. Michael Feinberg will take the tip, going against Jaquan Womack. And it's knocked out of bounds. It'll be Paul VI ball. Four minutes of overtime here.
See who can score first, establish some sort of continuity in this overtime period. Very curious to see if PVI can get Darren Harris going again. We saw that 3 down the stretch. He's normally a major offensive weapon for them.
Tough take. And Milton comes down with the rebound. Feels like Milton hasn't had the ball except at the very end of regulation in a long time.
Yeah, and every time they do, they're just content to walk it up the floor, run their sets.
Thornton surveying this defense. Isolation look.
And this is exactly why my friend and colleague Paul Biancardi is such an advocate for the high school shot clock.
Thornton, nice move. And a good take to score. Whoa.
Yeah, again, just such patience. Great change in direction. You don't have to be the fastest guy on the court if you understand how to change your speeds, and that's exactly what Bruce Thornton does.
Now an answer on the other end. Yes, sir. Ben Hammond comes up with a nice J, middle of the lane.
Got 2 feet in the paint. Quick stop. Elevated for the pull-up. Ties it up again. Back and forth we go. Can we do penalty kicks?
Thornton pulls up. Challenge shot. Too strong.
Yeah, first bad shot he's taken tonight.
Corner. 3 ball. And another offensive rebound for Milton. A good steal, though. Paul VI the other way. A 3 for Harris. And now inside, muscling in for the score, Jaquan Womack.
Well, McDaniel saw Harris coming that entire time in transition, was trying to set up his shot maker for a step-in 3 there. Couldn't knock it down, though. Now can Milton tie it back up or take the lead with the 3? It looked like a very fatigued possession the last time down for Milton.
And Thornton had it knocked away there.
One of the guards needs to come back for the ball here.
Deshaun Harris-Smith listed as a guard, but there are other options on the floor, and a foul is called there.
Well, and you can see he has Glenn Ferrello's confidence. He's going to allow him to handle the ball just as he did late in the game. Late in regulation, I should say.
And Kanan Carlisle picks up personal foul number 5.
And that's obviously huge because 2 starters now on the bench for Milton down the stretch.
We mentioned the freshman making the impact, Jaquan Womack, nosing Paul VI in front. Able to hit there from the free throw line, a big free throw for Deshaun Harris-Smith.
Yeah, 2-possession game. If he's able to make this one, that's almost like 15 points in a normal game, the way this one's being played.
Second shot up, and that one falls as well.
And this is going to be all Bruce Thornton or Chase Cormier here for Milton. You're going to get a timeout. Alan Whitehart going to want to talk this over, as is Glenn Ferrello in his huddle.
Harris-Smith with just a monster game, 13 points and 12 rebounds.
And remember, he went down with that ankle early on. We weren't sure if he was going to get back up, but just so gritty, so tough. The lefty, do it all. Can handle the ball like a guard, can guard big guys down on the block, strong. Just does a little bit of everything for this team.
Milton has done so well to battle with Paul VI all evening long, and to see this lead stretch to 4, there's still time, but Milton's got to come up with a bucket.
Yeah, they certainly seems like they need a score here, especially with Overton and Carlisle having now fouled out. I mean, you just have to assume that Thornton's going to play. You would almost expect to see one of those misdirection ISO sets. We've seen it a couple times where they run some screening action to occupy the defense, opening the court up for Thornton to try and make a play without a help side defender rotating in. So very curious to see if we see that type of set here from Milton.
Thornton picks it up with McDaniel on him.
No, it's just a ball screen here. See, that's what the misdirection does. He had 3 or 4 defenders collapse in on him, kicked it out, got a good look. But when he draws multiple defenders, it forces somebody else to take the shot. That's a good look for Milton, but
get the feeling that's exactly what they wanted.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that. Look, wide open shot for one of your top shot makers, 40% three-point shooter.
And now the keep away game begins with McDaniel. Finger roll off the front.
And again, that's just a shot he normally makes, and I think that it just speaks to how he's not quite 100% right now. Bruce Thornton with a dagger at the other end.
Huge shot by Thornton. And that cuts the lead to just 1. Man, another big-time shot in a big-time spot for Bruce Thornton.
So in a normal situation, you go into your huddle right now and you're saying, okay, what's the differential in the shot clock? With no shot clock here, you see the little hop, skip, and a jump to get behind the three-point line. But again, nothing but nylon there. The ultra competitor.
He knew exactly where he needed to get to. 17 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Thornton has done it all for Milton.
So without the shot clock on, now we saw PVI take 75 seconds off the clock in the end of regulation to hold for 1. So can only assume they're going to try and do that again here. So that means that if you're Milton and you're Alan Whitehart in that huddle, you've got to diagram, okay, what are we going to do to try and force a turnover initially? We're going to try and get a 5-second count, but denying the ball in. We're going to trap once, we're going to trap twice, but at what point do you give the foul? That has to be determined in that huddle. Whether it's 1 trap or 2, or whether it's a certain time on the clock, you say, okay, we're going to scramble until 20 seconds, but that has to be established for your players.
McDaniel tipping it ahead to himself.
What a heady play.
And he does get timeout in just before it goes out of bounds.
Terrific play by Doug McDaniel there. They drew up a home run ball to try and take advantage of what they knew would be a very aggressive pressure. McDaniel couldn't track the ball down. Couldn't get his feet back in bounds, has the presence of mind to signal for the timeout. Terrific play by the Michigan-bound senior.
And it just shows what a heads-up senior play that is for a guy who's been in a lot of big spots.
He certainly has. As we mentioned before, he is as experienced a point guard as there is in the country. Started as a freshman when he walked into the starting point guard spot after Anthony Harris went down with that ACL injury. He's played with Team Takeover in the EYBL, played up for years. So this is a guy who has been in every big game possible for someone his age.
Now McDaniel also has the backcourt to work with, so they could almost run the play the other way.
Yeah, and basically it's the same scenario now where they're going to, try and take time off the clock, trust their guards, put the ball in McDaniel's hand as much as they can. But as they've shown, they've got a lot of faith in Hammond, got a lot of faith in Harris Smith, so they're going to try and burn as much as they can here, presumably.
Harris is called for an offensive foul.
So again, we talked about it, wanted to be in Hammond's hand or McDaniel's hands. It did not go. It went into Harris, just a sophomore. He gets called for the hook. And so now Milton, chance to get their second buzzer beater in as many days.
So now the question becomes, do you try to score right away and then see what happens, or are you just taking the last shot?
Well, at minimum, you want to give yourself a chance for an offensive rebound. But I think in this situation, you take the best shot you can whenever it presents itself, and there it is.
That one looks pretty good for Thornton. Drills it with just under 17 seconds left. The go-ahead bucket.
This guy is a gamer. It was the 30-foot game winner yesterday. Today, it's the go-ahead pull-up with 17 seconds on the clock. Ohio State fans rejoice, Michigan fans cringe. Let's see if Doug McDaniel, he's going to have a chance on the other end to one-up his future foe.
19 points now for Thornton. And if you needed a reminder, yesterday you're talking about big-time shots from Bruce Thornton. He's no stranger to those. And it was his buzzer beater that actually lifted Milton to this point where they're in the semifinal against Paul VI.
Watch the distance on this shot. Kanan Carlisle getting downhill, trying to suck in the defense. Bruce Thornton trailing as if he was Chris Jenkins on Villanova. Drills it.
Absolute nails from Bruce Thornton.
But tonight, Kanan Carlisle already fouled out. LT Overton already fouled out. So Bruce Thornton's got to do it by himself, and do it by himself he did on that last possession.
And he just hit a big shot moments ago as well to pull Milton back to within one. All 7 points in overtime as that one just falls out. Now Paul VI with the chance to pull ahead at the free throw line.
And I think Paul VI caught Milton not sleeping there, but I don't think Milton was expecting Paul VI to go right to the rim like that. So great kind of strategy there, expecting the hold for a last one. And instead, Harris Smith goes to the rim. And now you have a third Milton player in Seth Fitzgerald who's fouled out. So that's 3 starters who are on the bench now for Milton.
Deshaun Harris Smith at the free throw line for Paul VI. Hits the first, tie game. Harris Smith, the junior, hits the second. 1 point lead.
What composure.
Huge spot.
I wonder who's going to take this shot. You can see PVI is just sending everybody at him. They're doing anything they can to get the ball out of his hands.
5 seconds for Thornton. Has it poked away from behind and out of bounds.
I think that's actually a good break for Milton because they had nothing going there. This is going to give them a chance to diagram something. But remember, they have 3 starters on the bench now having fouled out. So what can they do to get Bruce Thornton a good look? Or do they have someone else they trust, presumably Chase Cormier, if they can use Thornton as a bit of a decoy here?
Yeah, it's no secret that Thornton has done all of the scoring for Milton in this overtime period. You would think that he's going to generate all that attention. However, he hasn't missed many clutch shots either.
And this is one of those situations where you get a look at the last possession, and this could have been the game winner. Thornton got to the spot, he elevated, he knocked down the pull-up. 2.5 seconds left here, sideline out of bounds. This is the type of play that hopefully you've practiced and you have your game winner in the playbook. But I'll tell you what, even if you have it in the playbook, this is probably not the 5 guys that you practiced it with after 3 of them have already fouled out.
It's true. You wonder what, if any, drop-off there is. Obviously, you're talking about high-level players, but with starters being out, we'll see where they go. Cormier and Thornton, the 2 players we highlighted standing next to each other there. Thornton comes to the ball. 1 second, puts it up, and just off the back rim, it falls out. Paul VI holds on, and Thornton's last second heave comes up just short. A 1-point win for Paul VI.
What an effort by Bruce Thornton. He almost willed that ball in, but Paul VI, their youngsters stepped up. Doug McDaniel started to assert himself in the second half, where they are marching on to tomorrow night's final against Sierra Canyon.
So it will be Paul VI against Sierra Canyon for the right to call themselves champions of the Bass Pro Shops Tournament of Champions, and Paul VI advancing to the championship round in this, their 5th appearance, looking to come up with their first championship since 2013. And you take a look at tonight's player of the game, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, on the way to a 15-12 performance. Deshaun Harris Smith is big time.
And those 2 free throws he made down the stretch, that decision to go right to the rim and not hold for one, really ended up being the game winner. What composure there for the junior.
There's a look at Glenn Farello, the head coach of Paul VI, who has seen his team emerge victorious in overtime in order to push his team into the championship. what a performance from Paul VI, taking gut punch after gut punch along the way. An impressive performance as well by Deshaun Harris-Smith. We highlighted his double-double performance, 15 points and 12 boards. Doug McDaniel, Adam, we talked about him as well, coming alive in the second half when his team really did need him, not just to score, but also to dictate the pace and the way that the game was going to go. He certainly answered that bell, and now accolades continuing here. Let's head down and talk to the man who orchestrated that overtime victory, Glenn Farello. Coach, thank you so much for joining us, and a big win for your team. What does it mean for you to advance to the championship round in the fashion that you did?
Yeah, absolutely. It means a lot. You know, our kids have been fighting all year. We have such a young team, I know you, everyone has seen that. And I just love to fight in these guys. We're not playing perfect basketball. We talk about it all the time. We're not going to play perfect basketball right now. We're still growing up, and all these experiences are really important. But if you keep fighting, you know, and keep with it and keep playing for each other, good things happen. And we were fortunate to get away with one there for sure.
Glenn, take me through that last offensive possession. It almost seemed like Milton was expecting you to hold for one, and you took advantage of that by having Deshaun go right to the rim. Was that the plan all along?
Yeah, I wanted Deshaun to be really aggressive right there and see if he could get downhill. And I thought he did a great job of getting a jump stop and pivot into that. And, you know, he missed some shots down the stretch, and he was getting to the rim. He just was missing them. But I told him, I said, this next one's going in for you, buddy. And then when he got fouled, to be able to have the toughness to make those 2 free throws was really big, and a big moment for him. And he's been carrying us so much this early on in the season. So I was really happy to see him put a chance to put a stamp on the game there.
Doug McDaniel really did assert himself and put his mark on the game, especially in the second half. How was he able to do that and kind of flip that switch from the first?
Yeah, Doug's such a competitive guy, and you know, and as most people know, he played football this year, and so he hasn't quite rounded into form yet, basketball-wise, and so the best is ahead of him for his senior year. But we're really excited about what Doug brings to the game, to the team, that senior leadership and his burst. And I thought he made a huge impact in the second half. And I think that's what senior leaders need to do, is when they don't have a great first half, they can make that adjustment at halftime and come out and get the job done.
Well, Glenn, congratulations. Thanks again, and best of luck in the championship round tomorrow.
We appreciate it. Thank you much. And we love you, a six-man back at home.
There you go. Paul VI, head coach Glenn Farello, taking a look at the bracket. And that Saturday matchup is set. Sierra Canyon taking on Paul VI. Whitney Young will take on Milton in the third-place game. If this game was any indication, Adam Finkelstein, this should be a really good matchup tomorrow.
I am certainly looking forward to it. Doug McDaniel and his underclassmen, the stars in the making, against Amari Bailey and company at Sierra Canyon. Going to be a great championship game.
The Stars have been out in Springfield, Missouri, and there's plenty more action on tap for tomorrow. For Adam Finkelstein and our entire broadcast crew who made this showcase possible, this is Joe Torti saying so long. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time in Springfield, Missouri for high school basketball on ESPN.